Welcome everybody to tonight's webinar with Brownstone Realty Group. I am so excited. My name is Bernadette Trafton. I run the Boston Area Real Estate Investors Association, and I'm so excited to have Kim Harrington and Chris Coute get on and talk about all of the programs that they have with Brownstone Realty Group. Folks, I have been learning about real estate and heard about so many different gurus and watched all the courses and watched people pay an ungodly amount of money for some of the stuff that they've been doing. And what I noticed over the years is that only about 1% of the people were actually having success. Chris and Kim came to me a few years back and brought some different programs that pretty much guaranteed success for people, and what I've found is that the tables have completely flip-flopped. 99% of the people that are getting involved are successful, so I feel unbelievably excited for everyone that's on this webinar tonight to learn about what Kim and Chris with Brownstone have to offer. So I am going to turn my webcam off in a second, and I'm going to turn everything over to Kim Harrington and Chris Coute. I know that if you were in a room, you would all be clapping right now. So Kim, Chris, take it away.
All right, fabulous. Thanks so much, Bernadette. Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. This is Kim Harrington, and Chris is on with us. Chris, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
All right,
Hi there.
awesome. We appreciate you guys taking some time tonight to be with us on this call, and we have a few things that we'd like to cover tonight. So we're actually going to get started with a little introduction about who we are and what we do as a business and kind of how we got into the real estate investing space. And then we're going to get into a little bit of training specifically around how to find some really good opportunities. We want to give a little bit of training for all of you to be able to kind of get a jump and get a start on moving forward and trying to find deals. And we're focusing specifically on finding deals tonight because that seems to be what most people struggle with initially, and that we get a lot of questions around how we're finding our deals and how we're working this space in the real estate market. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the top ways that we find our opportunities, and specifically what's working in today's market within the New England area. So let me just jump through a little bit of information about us. So can everyone see the PowerPoint that's on the screen? Chris, look good to you?
That looks good to me, Kim.
All right, fabulous. All right, so let me give you a little bit of background. So Chris and I have been working in the real estate investing space since 2005 full-time. I actually started part-time a year prior to that and then jumped in headfirst 2005 full-time. Over the course of the last about 12 years, we've facilitated over $100 million in deals. We've completed hundreds of transactions, and in just 2016 alone, we're on track to complete about 70 rehab and new construction projects. So we focus mostly in eastern Massachusetts and a little bit also in Ohio, because that's where I'm from, Northeast Ohio. And our mainstay within our business is our rehabbing organization. So we rehab, we purchase, renovate, and resell a lot of properties every single year. Over the last about 3 years now, maybe 3 or 4, we have started to bring in the new construction side of the business into our space as well. So we've had a lot of fun over the last few years working on small development properties, still in the residential real estate space, single-family homes typically, and just small small new construction projects, maybe a house or two here or there, and then small subdivisions, 6, 7, 8 lots, that kind of thing. So that's what we have been working on. And Chris and I have a lot of fun in this business. We really enjoy it, and over the years we've learned a lot about real estate investing. And so we want to take a little bit of time tonight to talk with you about some of those things that we learned. Before we do that, though, we want to talk a little bit about why we chose real estate investing as our mainstay careers. So I'll talk with you a little bit about my background, and then I'm going to have Chris do the same thing so that you can get to know us a little bit and kind of understand where we're coming from. So prior to jumping into real estate full-time in 2005, I was the director in Treasury and Capital Markets at a large insurance firm, MassMutual Financial Group. And I loved my job, I loved what I was doing, and I loved the teams that I managed. I definitely worked a lot of hours. I was married at the time, we didn't have any kids, and you know, I enjoyed what I was doing, I was passionate about it, but I always felt like there was just a little bit of something missing, right? Like I felt like as I was going into the office every day, I'd get in really early, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't leave until after 7 p.m. at night. And I was advancing up the corporate ladder very quickly, so I was happy about that and really content with that success. But I just knew that there was something more out there, right? I knew that I didn't totally fit in the corporate America space. So as I thought a little bit more about it, and realized, you know, as I start a family, I want to have a little bit more flexibility, a little more freedom to be able to manage my day as I see fit and do the things that I want to do. And so in 2004, I started learning about real estate. It was definitely an area, you know, an industry that I was very interested in. So I started learning everything that I could about real estate investing, buy and holds, rehabbing, et cetera, and I got myself to the point where I felt comfortable being able to say, you know what, I'm going to give this a try, because I saw real estate as the potential vehicle to kind of give me that freedom to be able to spend my time the way I wanted to, but still be able to make the money that I was used to, because I was making 6 figures within, you know, corporate America, and I didn't want to let that income go, obviously, but I just needed some more flexibility and kind of wanted to live life on my own terms. I knew that once we started raising a family, I'd want to be able to have more time to spend with my kids, to spend with my husband, and so on and so forth. So in 2005, I made the jump and started real estate investing full-time. I quit my full-time job and jumped into real estate head first, and I started in the short sale arena. So I was negotiating short sales, purchasing them, and then reselling them. And that's actually how Chris and I had met. Soon after quitting my full-time job and jumping into real estate, I realized that it was absolutely one of the best decisions I ever could have made for myself and for my life and for my family, because it really was able to afford me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do, to be able to put the hours I wanted to into work. And I'm somewhat of a workaholic, self-proclaimed workaholic. If you ask my husband, he'll tell you the same thing. So I did a lot of work in real estate, but I liked the flexibility it gave me. I liked that I didn't have to go into an office and report into, you know, a boss and kind of work for the man, so to speak. And I was really, really happy with my decision. And I have to say, kind of looking back now, 12 years later, I can absolutely say it was the best decision I've ever made in my life, short of choosing the husband that I chose to marry, because it really has afforded me that lifestyle that I want. And I hope that some of you on the call today, on the webinar today, can relate to that, because I know a lot of you are working full-time, you know, working in some other industry outside of real estate and wondering, could real estate be that opportunity for me to kind of gain that freedom, to be able to, you know, kind of do things on my own time, but still afford a nice income as well. So that's a little bit about me and about my story, and I just want to turn it over to Chris so that he could talk for a few minutes kind of about why he chose real estate as kind of his vehicle and you know, moved into the real estate space for his career as well. Chris, you want to take it away, sir?
Yeah, there we go. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Kim. Chris Coute here with Brownstone Realty Group. So I will, I have a story of why I decided to get into real estate too, just like Kim does. And I'll say this, Kim's story and my story, and we'll probably share with you Jerry Lima, who's with our team, and Chris Chapin's story. Not everybody is going to have the success that we had, because it takes a lot of hard work. So just getting the education information is not enough. You have to work very hard. So, you know, I was in a scenario kind of like Kim, where I was on active duty for the Army. I spent 15 years on active duty. And Kim and I met, 10, 12 years ago on a short sale while I was also, like Kim, dabbling in real estate part-time on the side. And I just started to learn more about it and get a little passionate about it. And really what I wanted is the freedom that I have now. When you're in the Army, you get up and you're at work by 6:30 in the morning. You're there till 5 every day. I love being in the Army. I'm still in the reserves, as a matter of fact. But you don't have as much time to spend with your family as you want. Not much flexibility at all. You're there all day. You're doing Army stuff all day. You're not shooting out to go to the mall with your wife and kids. You're not doing any of that type of stuff. You're in the Army all day, and that's your life. And there's weekends involved, and sleeping outside, and doing all great things like that, and a lot of travel. My job in the Army required a lot of travel, so I was away from home sometimes a month at a time, and I just got sick of that. After 15 years in the Army, I now have 3 children, and I just wanted freedom and flexibility to control my life, like not work for the man. That's what I was looking for. I didn't want to work for the man anymore. So we started this, Kim and I did it, and I recommend kind of the way Kim and I did it. We started it part-time while we still had jobs. I'm sure it'd be difficult for anyone on this webinar to just quit their job and start a real estate business, because you're not going to make any money for a while until you start to get deals going and figure out what you're doing. There's a big learning curve to this. But if you can carve out the time to start it part-time, get a passion for it, and put the effort in, you can be like Kim and I. We control our schedules. I actually put my daughter on the bus every morning. I definitely couldn't have done that in the Army, and I was long gone by the time, long gone, doing PT with a whole crew of people. And if I want to be there to get her off the bus, I'm there too. I'm there to help out. I just have the flexibility that I desired and that I really wanted, kind of living life the way I want, and actually making great money doing it. But it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. We're gonna if you get involved with us, we're gonna give you a ton of information, and if you put that to use, like Jerry Lemer, we're gonna talk about him, but he's somebody who was a lifelong educator and just got sick of working in the in the educational field as a principal, vice principal, and all this other type of stuff, and didn't want to work for the man anymore, wanted his own schedule, and now he's done 20, 30, 40 deals. I don't even know how many. I lost track. Same thing with Chris Chapin, another very successful person who started partnering with us up in his 50, 60 deals. And he's kind of like Kim and I, living the dream. We kind of answer to ourselves. We're making money, and we have freedom and flexibility, and I love it. And I think if you follow the steps that we lay out, you'll probably have similar success.
Absolutely. That's great, Chris. Thanks for giving a little bit about your background. I think it's helpful for people to kind of know where we're coming from and where we were before we jumped into real estate. So, all right, that's enough about us for the time being. Why don't we talk a little bit now about basically I want to give these folks online some education and training, and I thought one of the great topics that we always get questions about, how do you find all your deals? So what I want you guys to do now, if you could, is grab a notepad, grab a pencil, or take some notes on your computer, but just try and kind of tune everything out. Silence your phone, shut down everything else, and focus on us just for a few minutes here so that we can give you some really solid training in how we are finding deals in today's market, okay? So that's what we want to do. I want you guys to take some time, grab a notepad, grab a pen, and take some notes as we talk about these next few slides and how we're finding the deals, okay? So Chris and I both, when we got started, we were kind of solopreneurs, right? We were jumping in ourselves. We didn't have the team around us, and we were kind of getting started, getting our feet wet, getting an understanding of how things work, and moving forward on our own. And I know very quickly I realized the importance of making sure that you build a strong team around yourself. So one of the really important principles tonight that I want to talk with you about and want to make sure that you understand is the importance of having a very strong team around you. So you may be wanting to get involved in real estate yourself, and you don't really have a partner. That's okay, totally cool. but you want to make sure that you're bringing the right people kind of in your sphere of influence to be able to make the biggest impact on your business, okay? And when I say building a strong team, you need to get team members that you want to get to know other real estate investors. A lot of people feel like they want to steer clear of getting close with other investors because, it's dog eat dog world and you don't want to share your deals with anybody else and they're going after the same deals as you, so they kind of take this, this mentality that it's competitive. Chris and I are the exact opposite. We want to and do get to know all of the other investors that are in our space, all the other folks that are rehabbing houses, all the other folks that are in the new construction space, because we learn a lot from them and we think they learn a lot from us as well. And we can kind of share tricks of the trade, so to speak. So some of the people that you want to get kind of on your team are other potential investors. You can maybe share deals if you have too much on your plate, being able to pass a deal off to somebody else and maybe get a wholesale fee, or vice versa. So be friendly with the other people who are out there doing the same things that you're doing. Some of the other team members that you want on your team are real estate agents, and we're going to jump into a little more detail about that when we start to talk about finding deals. But you want to make sure that you get to know all the investor-friendly real estate agents in the areas that you want to do. You also want to get to know mortgage brokers, folks that are going to be able to provide mortgages to the end buyers that are going to come along and buy the houses that you rehab. So you want to get friendly and build a network there. You also need to make sure that you have really solid, seasoned attorneys on your team as well. Attorneys that understand the real estate investing space, that understand how our deals come together and how quickly you need to move in order to close on some of these opportunities, because those are the folks that you need to be on your team when you find that first deal, or you find, that third or fourth or fifth deal, whatever number you're on right now. You need them to be on your team in order to be able to move forward and streamline the closing as quickly as possible. Chris, why don't you talk a little bit more about some of the other folks that you need to have as you're kind of getting started in the business and building that team around yourself?
Yeah, having a strong team is what has led to our success. Having a team of, I think some of the most important your team members are real estate agents. Getting very friendly with the agents in the areas you want to do business. Real estate agents control the inventory. So you want to focus on the producers that actually do a lot of business in town. And if you make it a priority and start developing those relationships, it'll pay off. It's paid off for us time and time again. In markets that we do not do business, we focus on it, we make it a priority, we start to get friendly, and we get deals out of it. I mean, you obviously need the other folks for your team. Obviously a seasoned attorney in this business, because when you're doing this business and you want to work with an attorney that knows you don't want to work with a will attorney or an environmental attorney, real estate closings. You want to get someone who knows all the lingos, how to cut through the chase and just get things done, so not to delay things and cost you more money. It'll definitely save you money by having it, and you need to have these people in place so when you get a deal, you can act on it quickly, because time is money in this business. A lot of times you may start to get a deal formed and the seller has an attorney. You want to have and they want their attorney to talk to your attorney. You want to have these people in place to just move quickly on it. But Kim mentioned you definitely want to be friendly with wholesalers if you're looking to buy and rehab, and if not, if you're looking to wholesale, you got to be friendly with all the people who are looking to do the rehabs. So you need to be friendly with kind of everybody. But when we're talking about the team you want to build, I think you want to focus on real estate agents in the areas you want to do business, getting a good attorney on your team, and you definitely want to start to build a team of contractors. And we could talk about this for hours, about some horror stories we've had with contractors and some lessons learned. I mean, we have a whole educational section just on lessons learned, which I think is probably one of the more valuable things we do. All the mistakes we've made, we try to help the folks we work with not to make those mistakes. So lessons learned is very important. You want to vet your contractors, check their work, make sure they're friendly with the people in town too, because it does help from time to time. especially if you're doing major work and your contract has a relationship with the building inspectors, it speeds things along. And we could, go on quite a bit about that aspect too, when you're talking about if you're trying to develop land and relationships in towns and things like that. But 3 most important for your team: real estate agents in the area you want to do business, attorney, and contractors.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. The next mindset that we want to talk a little bit about tonight is that of creating win-win scenarios. And you'll see this as we jump into how we find deals. Whoever you're talking with and whoever you're trying to build a relationship with, whether it be a potential seller of a distressed property that you want to purchase, or another real estate investor, or a real estate agent, an attorney, a contractor, you always want to take a second, take a step back, and think about what their intention is, what they're looking for out of a transaction, and then figure out a way that you can add some value to their business, to their life. Okay? You always want to be thinking about how you're adding value to other people that you're working with, because that's how you build a long-term, very strong relationships. Okay? So it's really important as you're going about your whole business to make sure that you're thinking to yourself, all right, I want to create a win-win scenario in this situation, or in this instance, or in this conversation as you're talking to people about what you're doing. So think about how you can best do that, and then move forward with that relationship by initially adding significant value to that other person that you're working with. This is really, really important, and I think an important mindset really in all of life, right? You have kids, you want to make sure that you're thinking about what you can be doing best to serve them as a parent, right? How you can best parent them and teach them and raise them in the right ways. Same thing with your spouse or your significant other, right? You want to make sure that you're always trying to figure out how you can add value to other people's lives. And this is a really important concept. So I want to kind of kick it off with that, and then talk a little bit about how you can kind of frame this thought process of creating win-win. So everybody inherently has kind of 3 main motivations, okay? It may be just one of these 3, or it may be a combination of the 3. But the 3 main motivations are making money or saving money, right? Saving time, and reducing the level of effort that you have to put into something, okay? So if you're thinking, how can I create a win-win scenario with a real estate agent who may have good potential off-market opportunities for me? Well, you can absolutely, think about it from the standpoint of money, right? A real estate agent is going to be motivated by money. That's their job, and right, they have to make money to be able to stay in business. So you want to find ways that you can add value, and perhaps give the listing once rehabbed back to that real estate agent who brought you the deal. So now they have 2 sides of a closing instead of just one. So that's just one example of many that you should really be thinking about in every kind of relationship that you're trying to develop as you're putting your team together in the real estate space. So what are everyone's main motivations? Money, time, and effort, or some combination of these 3. Okay? It's really important. So you figure out how you can add the most value to their life in relation to these 3 areas, and just by default, this person is going to want to work with you. By default, they're going to see that your intentions are good, and they're going to want to develop that long-term relationship with you. Okay? All right. So how do you go about finding potential opportunities? With those few things that we talked about in mind, building the team, creating win-win scenarios, how do we go about finding potential deals? Now, there's many, many, many ways that we find potential opportunities, potential projects, potential deals, okay? But with that being said, we don't have all night to talk about this. We could go on forever. We just picked the top 3 ways that right now we're finding our opportunities. So let's talk a little bit about how we do that. So if you take a step back and you think, well, what are the best kind of properties to go after, right? What are the best opportunities out there? In our opinion, the off-market opportunities that you could potentially find are the best opportunities for you to go after as a real estate investor. And there's a few reasons for this, but let me explain. An off-market opportunity is basically a house that's not actively being marketed for sale. However, the owner does have some intention or has given some thought to potentially selling that house, okay? And there's three main reasons that off-market opportunities are really good for you. Obviously, there's much less competition when you're dealing with an off-market opportunity as opposed to a deal that might be on the MLS that, you know, you have 10, 15, 20 different investors jumping on board, trying to get into the house, do the repair estimate, make an offer, and you're fighting against all these other people that are doing the same thing that you want to do, right? And the off-market opportunities also provide you a way to really just bring more value creation into that seller's space, right, into that seller's life. It allows you to show them the value that you're bringing to the table, being able to close quickly, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, off-market opportunities are great because you have much less chance of being circumvented by other potential buyers that may be interested in that house, okay? So off-market opportunities are what we encourage all real estate investors to really focus on. We do buy deals on the MLS, don't get me wrong, but off-market opportunities are by far the best opportunities out there, especially for people who are new to the business, okay? So one of the main marketing techniques that we use ourselves is networking, all right? So networking is one of the biggest and most important things that you can do to build your business, all right? And there's a few ways to go about it. I'm going to turn it over to Chris a little bit so he can talk to you specifically about how he networks in order to find good potential opportunities. So Chris, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about how networking has affected our business and helped us grow.
Thank you, Kim. So we focus on networking. That's our bread and butter. Networking, building relationships. We don't find a lot of deals on MLS. We don't even really look on MLS, to be honest with you. We're trying to find them before they hit MLS. So like Kim said, there's no competition, and you know we get a good value on our purchase. And we work on creating win-win situations, Kim said, for both us, the seller, and possibly the link between our network. We focus a lot of our efforts on making a relationship with agents in the towns we want to do business in. They control the inventory. When you work with us, we're going to go over our different tricks and techniques on how to get friendly with those agents, how to get them to have confidence in you. Because if you've never done a deal again, you're probably thinking, well, why would they even give you the time of day? But trust me, we've had plenty of people who work with us who've built those relationships with agents, with other wholesalers, with all different folks to get their first deal. I mean, if we wanted to go over all the different ways that the people we work with have networked and got deals, I want to say off the top of my head, it's probably 4 out of the last 5 or 5 out of the last 6 folks we started working with have found their own deal, which is an amazing success. And it just, some of them are on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th deal. I think of one person in general, and then we just work on networking with everybody, with agents, with attorneys, with your sphere of influence. We have a referral program that we offer to people, and we've had police officers tell us about opportunities based on situations they've run into. Mailmen tell us we've given our bird dog to mailmen. We've given it to all kinds of people, all through networking. We focus on off-market deals. We do very little advertising. Very, very little advertising. We buy a few properties on MLS. We focus on networking. The people who join our program, we ask them to focus on networking, and the proof is in the pudding. These folks are finding deals, and the ones who stick after it and can create that system. One thing Kim's great at is time management and creating a system and sticking with it. I'm not too bad at that either, based on my military background, but she's kind of after the people we work with, always saying, well, you wanted to find 3 deals in 3 months. You gotta go to a certain number of houses each month to find a deal. It's not the first house you go into. You have to be talking to agents. You have to be, out there driving for dollars. You have to be talking to your sphere of influence. You do have to be checking MLS, and you know why you check MLS? To figure out the agents you want to network with. That's why we check MLS. Who's doing business in town? Who do we want to get friendly with? What's our plan to get friendly with them? And it works. It works. It works for us. It works for the people that we've been working with. And if you can set up the system and execute the system, we've been down the path. People before us have been down the path. I mean, everybody's been selling the real estate training and videos and everything for many, 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 many years. And we feel like we're offering something different than everybody else has ever offered. And if you follow our advice, we think for the most part you'll be successful.
All right, awesome, Chris, thanks. So definitely the power of networking is huge in your business. You just want to talk with everybody about what you're doing and confidently let them know that you are a real estate investor interested in purchasing deals, if they know of any projects. A lot of people are, like I said, motivated by money, so somebody completely out of the real estate industry, could be an aunt, a second cousin, a neighbor. Let them know that you give referral fees for folks who make into properties that you end up purchasing. We do a $1,000 referral fee, and I know some of the other parents and grandparents that have kids that go to my kids' school. I'll end up chit-chatting with them a little bit and talking about what I do for work, what they do for work, and I always let them know, hey, we have a referral program where we're happy to pay you $1,000 if you make an introduction to someone and we end up purchasing their property. And it motivates people. I get leads all the time from people, hey, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? They don't always work out, right? But you just need one or two of those to work out. So networking is absolutely huge and absolutely critical to your success in real estate investing. The second marketing technique that we're going to talk about are real estate agents. And Chris has already touched on this a couple of different times. He sees a ton of value in building relationships with real estate agents. And so I don't want to belabor the point too much, but as Chris said, getting into the MLS, finding out what agents are doing work in the towns that you want to work in, find out who those top agents are, and then set up a time to go see one of the properties that they have listed. You may not be interested in purchasing that particular property, but you'll get their time for 5-10 minutes to talk about what you do and what you can offer them, right? So again, trying to think, how can you create that win-win scenario with real estate agents that are doing business in the markets that you want to be in, all right? Super important, and definitely a great way for you to find off-market opportunities, because as Chris mentioned earlier, real estate agents really control most of the inventory that's out there. And oftentimes if you get friendly with them, they'll get you into a property right as they're putting it on the market, maybe even a little bit before, to be able to give you the opportunity to get out there to see it and to place your offer and kind of be the first one in the door. So those are it's absolutely necessary to make sure you're building those relationships with real estate agents. And the third marketing technique that we want to talk a little bit about tonight is auctions, okay? And there's a couple different kinds of auctions that you can attend. We attend a lot of live auctions, and we also do a lot of analysis and make offers on the online kind of auctions as well, like Hubzu and auction.com. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Chris to talk just a little bit about our auction program and how we're finding success specifically in the auction space.
Sure, no problem, Kim. So auctions is something that over our first 4 or 5 years in this business, we didn't really focus much effort on it all. We kind of focused on making relationships with the folks who bought at auctions and wholesale the properties. So we've probably purchased 50 or more houses from wholesalers who buy at auctions. Well, over the last 12, 18 months, we decided, why don't we make it a business decision and focus on auctions? Why don't we set up a system, set up a plan, and execute it? And we did just that. And in less than 4 months, we purchased 19 houses at auctions. Less than 4 months. So with the right system in place, the right execution of that system, putting the system in place is the easy part. executing. That's the hard back, and following up and being diligent. That's what you have to do. That's what separates, you know, the winners from the losers, so to speak. We in quick order, we started dominating the auction market in the area that we wanted to, and that was, you know, with our system and our follow through. But with auctions, that's something that you could start tomorrow. If you have $5,000, and if you can figure out values and put numbers on things, great. But if you can't, you can get friendly with a real estate agent through your networking, who could probably, you could ask them for their advice. What's the right buy price? What's the right sale price? If you work with us, we're going to tell you all the secrets from our very successful auction buying strategy. We've had nothing but success, all winners, no losers, nothing but positive experiences with the auctions. And you know, I think what we've learned since we really focused on this can benefit a lot. We have people that we've partnered on who have now, I think one of our partners is up to 4 auction purchases, and you know, others have purchased. We have several others who purchased 1 or 2 auctions. So that's with our coaching and giving our tips, our strategies, and it works. It works. You know, we've made the mistakes. Let us tell you about those mistakes so you don't do the same thing.
It's so true. It's so true. I think in any kind of business, right, you want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with folks that have kind of walked that path before you, right, so that you can learn from and really kind of put your whole career on a different trajectory from being associated and learning from folks that have walked that path before you. So, you know, Chris and I have, you know, both have a passion for kind of continuing education and continuing development. And one of the things that we both do is meet with a couple of different kind of senior level mentors in our lives to be able to kind of help us grow our business and develop our process even tighter than it already is, right? And move our business forward. And what we found by working with these folks, 2 in particular this year that we've been meeting with and have just added tremendous value to our lives and to our business, it's been a huge step for us in the right direction by learning from these folks. And one of them actually is a lender that lends to us. We use a lot of private money to fund our deals, and one of our lenders, who is one of our largest lenders, has owned and managed a handful of different businesses, and he's still got his hand involved in the businesses, but he's more on the kind of retirement phase, and he's just been an absolute wealth of knowledge. I was just having a conversation with him earlier today about the next time we're going to meet with him in September, and you know, and he said, you know, I hope that I'm able to add some value to your business and to your perspective. And I told him, you know, it's absolutely wonderful to be able to take the time that he's able to give us to be able to really think about our business. And instead of being in the business, running it, doing everything that we need to for day-to-day kind of operational stuff, to actually be able to take that step back and focus on our business a little bit and what we can do to improve it. So, you know, Chris and I both put a tremendous value on that kind of education and being able to, again, kind of walk shoulder to shoulder with people who have been down the path that you want to get to. It's absolutely critical to do that. And so what I'd like to do next is talk a little bit about these that we have available to folks who are interested in doing that in the real estate training and education space. So one of my core values, as I said, is continued learning. Right, I'm constantly reading and trying to develop both my business sense as well as, you know, things personally for myself. It's just one of my core values. And I found that just about 3 years ago, so now, Chris, right, it's been about 3 years since we've been kind of started our Fast Track Joint Venture Partnership Program.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah, about 3 years. It's been the just absolute most fun that I've had in our business, because what we've created is basically an opportunity for folks to come on board and work with us, again, shoulder to shoulder with folks who have gone through that path, who have done, you know, hundreds of rehabs, and who can teach folks how to do it and also teach folks how not to make the same mistakes that we've made. So Chris and I, we're buying and selling multiple houses every single month, right? But this Fast Track Joint Venture Partnership Program has allowed us to take new folks or folks who maybe have a little bit of experience in real estate investing but want to learn more. It's allowed us to take them by the hand and actually provide them with an opportunity, with a project that we give to them, that we've sourced, and we give that project to them in order for them to learn with a very hands-on approach. Because in the beginning of this session, Chris talked a little bit about how there's lots of different training programs out there, and most of the time they're either online training programs, videos, or you're traveling for 3 or 4 or 5 day seminars where you immerse yourself in real estate investing, right? And then you walk away, and from that perspective, it's like you remember maybe 15–20% of what was thrown at you over the course of those 3, 4, 5 days, and then you try and implement it yourself. And we found that a lot of people kind of get stuck at that implementation phase. So they take the time to learn as much as they can, but they aren't having success with the implementation side of the business. So for years, we've had people come to us and say, hey, can you mentor us? Do you have a training program? Or can I just come and work for you to learn the real estate investing business? And we've always kind of shied away from that space because there are great trainers and educators out there already who kind of go through that path, the seminar path, to teach people about real estate investing. And they do a good job with it. There's a lot of great national trainers out there that I would recommend to people. However, we always shied away from it, but we'd still get people coming to us and saying, hey, we're interested in getting involved in this business. Is there any way that we can shadow you, that we can learn from you, that we can come and work from you or work with you? So Chris and I, just about 3 years ago now, we were in a brainstorming session. We came upon the idea of kind of turning the whole training model on its head. So instead of running a 3 or 4 or 5 day seminar where we just talk to folks and teach them what we know about real estate, why not actually take the training and mentoring and education space in a completely different way and actually give folks a hands-on opportunity to learn from, like a real live project. So for 2, 3 months, 4 months, depending on how long the rehab is, they're able to shadow one of our senior project managers and learn how to actually go about managing a project. And the results have been absolutely phenomenal. There are so many folks who have come through our program and learned in this very hands-on manner, and we're getting absolutely rave reviews. So let's talk a little bit, Chris, about some of the folks that have come on board with us and kind of where they are in their business after working with us. He brought up Jerry. So why don't you talk a little bit about Jerry, Chris, and kind of give some perspective about where he was coming from and kind of what he's doing now in the real estate investing space after working with us and coming through our Fast Track program.
Sure, happy to. So Jerry Lemer was actually somebody who bought a house from us. He was an educator. I had always been in education, working for school systems for 20 plus years. And he was kind of like Kim and I. He was getting sick of working for the man, getting very sick of it. And Jerry started dabbling in real estate a little bit part-time, and actually, like I said, he bought a house from us. And we got to know him a little bit, and he decided to join our Fast Track Joint Venture program. And the success Jerry has is similar to Kim and I's. I mean, he is no longer working for the man. He's loving what he does. He's probably the most appreciative person I know. Every day he's happy to come to work, every single day. And what he knew 3 years ago compared to what he knows now is night and day. Absolutely night and day, which is the same with Kim and I. Like the amount of knowledge that he just gets better and better on every rehab. And now we're at the point where Jerry's fixing them too fast because we do a lot, a lot of the houses we fix are going to first-time home buyers. That's kind of our sweet spot. And those buyers use FHA, which there's a certain amount of time you have to own the house before you can resell it. And like 3 houses in a row, Jerry's fixed it so fast, we got to sit and wait to sign a contract. So I'm telling Jerry, slow down, stop fixing these things so fast. You're getting too good. So, it's just where he's gone from when we met him. He's making great money. He has the flexibility he wants, same as Kim and I. He's got the flexibility he wants. He's a very devoted father. He's spending a lot of time with his daughter, with his family, and I think he's just, you know, as I am, living the dream, as Kim is living the dream. We're doing what we want.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's so cool to be working with Jerry as well, because like Chris said, you know, he's super appreciative, and I think that, you know, gratitude is one of the most important things in life. Be thankful for what you've been given and the opportunity that you've been given to be able to work. The thing I love about Jerry is that he took what we taught him in the Fast Track program and he implemented it day in and day out. He worked his butt off to get to the point where he is now. But every single day he enjoys working hard because it's doing what he's passionate about. It's doing what he loves. And again, he has that flexibility to be able to spend more time with his daughter than, you know, he ever would have if he was still in the, you know, school administration role that he came from. We'll talk a little bit.
Jump in. And I just want to say, when you're talking about that, you know, Jerry sets himself apart from everybody. Like, we have given that information we gave Jerry to other people, and they haven't taken action. So, you know, I just want to put that out there. Like, the folks we work with, we give them the tools, and if they execute with those tools, they're going to be successful. It's almost impossible not to be. The ones who aren't successful are the ones who don't do anything. And, you know, and Jerry's not the only success story we can talk about. We can talk about 10, 15 different folks that have at least done 1, 2, or 3 deals through our program. You know, Jerry's up 20, 30, 40, like I said before, same with Chris Chapin. But we're going to give you the tools, and if you execute, you will be successful. If you execute, that's the key, is actually having the dedication and work, you know, being able to work hard and refusing to not be successful. You can have the lifestyle you want.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So let me talk a little bit more about the Fast Track program. So like I said, we actually will give you your first deal. So we source it, and not only will we give you your first deal, but we will also fund it 100%. So we are going to purchase it in our name, so we take on the liability, so you don't have to worry about that, and we're going to put all the money in, the purchase price and the rehab costs of that project. So that's all you have to do, is focus on learning how to rehab the house, learning how to run a redevelopment business. And it takes a lot of pressure off of folks, because in the beginning, when you're first getting started, and even some folks who have done a handful of deals, two of the biggest things that people struggle with the most, the biggest roadblocks that they have, are finding a really good deal and then being able to fund that deal, being able to have the money to purchase and renovate it. And a lot of people want to get started in this business, but they just don't know how to go about overcoming those first 2 obstacles. And so we absolutely remove those obstacles. They are no longer obstacles. So you get to jump right in and learn hands-on how to run the business. In addition to the deal that we give you, we also take you through a series of training sessions. So we'll actually walk you through, soup to nuts, how to run a real estate redevelopment business. And it's pretty sweet, because I have a lot of fun kind of working with folks. You know, our first session is talking about mindset and the importance of making sure that you have the right mindset and that you're being very purposeful with your actions and that you're creating the right kind of strategic plan for yourself and for your business. And we go through that whole process in detail, in great detail, and figuring out how many houses, all the way down to, in your strategic plan, how many houses do you need to see every single week in order to hit your goal for the next 12 months in real estate investing. And then we talk about how to source deals. We talk about how to analyze deals. And we do as much hands-on as we can. So the deal analysis session that we take people through, we actually bring them to 2 or 3 projects that we are just getting kicked off, and we walk through those projects with a repair estimate sheet that we have created that outlines what the costs are for all the different kinds of repairs on a project. And it's pretty sweet, because we take them by the hand, we walk through the house, and we show them how to figure out how to estimate what the rehab cost will actually be on a house. And we do it on a real project so that they can really understand how that works. So we kind of take the theory in the classroom and put it to hands-on work as well. And in doing so, we feel that the people who come through our program learn so much more than what they would if they were just listening to us kind of talk about things like that. And In addition to the deal analysis, we teach people how to hire and manage contractors. We teach people kind of the back office side of the business and all the different insurances they have to have, how to handle the accounting side of the business, because that's definitely something that most entrepreneurs don't have a good handle on, and you need to. You need to be sure that you're managing your accounting side of the business in your books very well. And so we teach all about that. We teach how we've established a great network of high net worth individuals, people who will fund deal after deal after deal, and created these really long-term relationships with high net worth individuals who want to invest in real estate in a passive way. And we make them a ton of money, and they lend us the money to be able to do the number of deals that we do. We're on track to do about 70 projects this year. You know, unfortunately, Chris and I don't have the money to be able to fund all those projects ourselves, so we look to a lot of private money. And we've just built up a great stable of high net worth individuals in order to fund those deals for us. And we teach people how to do that exact same thing. And then we also, like Chris mentioned, we go through a lessons learned session where we talk about all the mistakes that we've made in the business and how the folks that are coming on board as part of our JV program as partners of ours, how they can kind of circumvent that and not make the same mistakes that we've made. Because a lot of times that is what takes somebody from being able to do marginally well in this business to being able to just crush it on their first couple deals. So you don't have to go through the pain that we did when we were first getting started. You're going to learn from our mistakes and hopefully not make as many of those mistakes in your own business. So the Fast Track program has this hands-on project management component. It has these sessions that we go through, 5 to 6 different sessions that we go through. And then kind of the third leg of the stool, and the way I like to describe the Fast Track program, is that we have quarterly mastermind sessions. And these sessions are basically where we get all of our joint venture alum to come together and come and listen and network, right? They network with each other and also listen to a speaker that we pull from our area that has just great experience in one thing or another within real estate investing. So we've had people talk, we've had attorneys, we've had mortgage brokers, we've had engineers come in and talk with us, general contractors come in and talk with us about a lot of the pitfalls of the business and kind of how to work around those to be successful in the business. So we provide this kind of continuing ed for all of our joint venture partners who have come through the program and are now alum, as well as the folks who are just starting to come through. And it's also an awesome networking opportunity as well. So those are kind of the 3 legs to our Fast Track JV partnership program. Now, we've really had a lot of fun with the program because Chris and I enjoy working with other people and seeing their success and getting excited with them when they find that first deal on their own, you know, and helping them figure out how to build a stable of private lenders to be able to lend to them on their own deals. So it's been an awesome program. And kind of taking a step back from that, I want to spend a little bit of time tonight as well talking about our group coaching live. So this is an absolutely new program that we're just rolling out in September. And our group coaching live is an excellent opportunity for people to still be able to kind of come on board and learn from a project, from one of our senior project managers. So we'll be doing it, though, in kind of a group style as opposed to one-on-one. So it's a little less expensive than our Fast Track JV Partnership program. Our group coaching program allows a number of people, 4 to 6 people, come through and learn from one of our senior project managers on a real live project. And then they also get a bunch of the training and education that we've created through a series of video trainings, video sessions that go through kind of soup to nuts how to run that real estate redevelopment business. So they get to see a live project and how that project goes, you know, start to finish, and everything that you learn from that hands-on approach, as well as access to a bunch of different videos to kind of walk through that they can then go back and refer to later on as they're getting their first project off the ground and they want to take another look at how we taught them how to manage the accounting in the books and that, you know, dealing with all the expenses of the project. They can go back and watch that video. So our group coaching live is going to be an absolutely phenomenal way for people to be able to get a taste for what it's like to manage a project and learn hands-on as well as have that backup training videos. And then kind of the third aspect of the group coaching live program is that we do office hours every single week. So we have opportunities set aside for folks to be able to call in and talk with me, talk with Chris, and talk with some of our senior project managers about any of the struggles that they have, the questions that they have, help on deal analysis and that kind of thing. So we provide that opportunity in a very structured format for people to be able to come on board and learn hands-on and still have that kind of one-on-one opportunity to talk with us, but it's more in a group setting. And the price tag on that one is considerably less than our Fast Track JV partnership program, which is kind of our flagship program itself. Chris, do you want to add anything specifically about the Fast Track JV partnership or the group coaching live that we're going to be kicking off before we move on to a couple other opportunities that we have for folks?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw in my 2 cents. You mentioned it. It's great to see a lot of people have success with the Fast Track program. I mean, we have so many people who've had success. Many people who've done 5, 10 plus deals. Several people doing many deals on their own. Lots of people doing a handful of deals on their own. And I'm also a big fan of the group coaching live. It's quite a bit less than the Fast Track program, and you get the hands-on experience at the project from start to finish, and then you have access to the online materials with the group coaching. It's not quite, you don't really get the one-on-one going over the coaching like you do in the Fast Track, but you get the information and you get the project. So it's a pretty good bang for the buck in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to get that kicked off. And I know Chris Chapin and Jerry Lima, who are going to also be working directly with these folks, in addition to Chris and I, are super excited to get it kicked off as well. So that's kind of what we have for you as far as the Fast Track JV partnership and the group coaching live opportunities. And these, again, are opportunities for you to learn hands-on, where we guarantee your first deal in 30 days, where we fund that opportunity for you as well, allowing you to be able to learn and kind of take those 2 biggest stumbling blocks completely out of the way on your first deal, so you can really get in there and learn in the best way possible, which in our opinion is that hands-on way. We've also had some folks who maybe don't feel like they're quite ready for that hands-on opportunity. And so what we've created, because we've been kind of, as we pull people who talk to us about their interest in continuing education and learning the business, but maybe they have a job that they don't feel like they can take the time to actually get out to a project once a week, that kind of thing. The 6-month online coaching program is an excellent way for a very affordable price to be able to get in this and really learn on your own time. So it's a series of video sessions that you get bi-monthly. So you'll get 2 videos every single month. And then we also give some really cool opportunities that are live hands-on opportunities now and again for our 6-month online coaching program as well. So if you're interested in something like that, you think maybe your schedule's not quite flexible enough for the Fast Track or the group coaching live, this could be a great opportunity in a very affordable way to really learn the business and get a handle on kind of what it takes to be able to manage a project, to find a deal, to analyze it, and so on and so forth. Normally, our 6-month online coaching price is $2,997, but obviously everybody that's on the line is here because Bernadette has invited you as, either a member of the Boston Real Estate Investment Association or somebody who is, interested in that group or affiliated in some way with Bernadette. And, before this webinar, she asked me, hey, Kim, can we do something special for the folks that are going to be coming on this webinar, folks that are a part of the RIA or affiliated in some way with the Boston Area Real Estate Investment Association. So, of course, Bernadette was able to kind of negotiate with us a little bit and get, some kind of special pricing for anybody who's interested in our programs, and we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. But before we talk about the pricing on any of the other programs, I want to talk about one other training program that we have, and that's what we call wholesaling for quick cash. And it's basically a 6-week online video course that allows you to learn the ins and outs of wholesaling properties. So a lot of folks who want to get started in real estate investing are a little bit leery to get started because maybe they don't have the capital to be able to do their own deals, or they just want to get started on a very, very part-time basis. And one way to do that, but also learn the business, is to get started as a wholesaler. And wholesaling is basically when you find a really good project, a really good potential opportunity, but instead of buying it yourself and rehabbing it, you actually will wholesale it or sell it to a rehabbing company like ours for a little bit of a profit. So for example, if you put a house under agreement for $210,000 and then you flip it or wholesale it to a rehabber for $220,000, and you're able to make that $10,000 spread just by being able to find that opportunity, right? So you're not actually having to put any money up, you're not actually having to do any of the work of the rehab, but you're able to make some money by wholesaling those opportunities. So we've created a very robust 6-week online course to kind of get people's feet wet in real estate investing and just learn the ins and outs of wholesaling and what you need to do to be successful in wholesaling, because you want to make sure that you're doing it in a legal way. You want to make sure that you have all the right documentation, the right offers to purchase, the right language in your contracts to be successful. So we pack it all into Wholesaling for Quick Cash, and like I said, it's a 6-week online course as well that a lot of people choose to kind of get started with to learn a little bit about the business, make sure that it's something that they are interested in before they jump into something maybe a little bit more in-depth and learn more about the rehabbing process itself. Our Wholesaling for Quick Cash course typically sells for $9.97 for the video training, and then we also bundle some hands-on training in along with the video training for $14.97 as well. But let's talk a little bit about what we're going to offer everybody on tonight's webinar, because for a limited time, Bernadette was able to secure a discount to all of our programs. So because of your relationship with Bernadette and the Boston Area Real Estate Association, we're going to provide some pretty discounting pricing for all of the 4 different programs that we have for you. And let's talk a little bit about that now. So for our Fast Track JV partnership and our group coaching live, now these are the premier programs that we have, okay? And we don't accept everybody into these programs. You have to apply to be accepted into the programs, and the reason for this is because there's a very limited number of people that we take every quarter in our Fast Track program, and there's a very limited number of people that we take and will be taking into our group coaching live program, because we want to make sure that we're giving enough attention to each individual person that's coming on board and working with us. They're making an investment of their time and money. We take that investment very seriously, and we want to make sure that we have enough time to work with them on a one-on-one basis. So it's very limited. We only take a very small handful of people each quarter. So if you're interested in our Fast Track JV Partnership Program or our Group Coaching Live program, what I encourage you to do is Bernadette will be sending out a link after this presentation. Go ahead and click on that link, enter your contact information into the landing page that we give you, and somebody from our team will be in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours to talk a little bit about the program. And again, we are offering a one-time discount for both of these programs as well for a limited time because of the relationship that you guys have with Bernadette and the Boston Area Real Estate Investment Association. If you're interested in the Wholesaling for Quick Cash course, like I said, our online course typically sells for $9.97, and the online course with the live training for $1,497. We're going to take $500 off each of those courses. So you can get the online 6-week Wholesaling for Quick Cash course for $497. So for a limited time, you'll have the opportunity to purchase this course and learn everything you need to know about wholesaling and being able to get your business up and off the ground and running by taking this course for only $497. Our online course with the live training, and I'll tell you real quick about that live training, we provide everybody who chooses this option with the opportunity to come out to one of our projects before we get started with the work, and we take you through that repair estimate worksheet, and we teach you how to figure out what the cost of repair is going to be on a house, so that as you practice and as you do it a few times, you get better and better, and you can be really, really good at figuring out what the cost of repair is going to be, and in turn, then backing into the number that you can offer for a house. Because even when you're wholesaling, even if you're not going to do the rehab yourself, you have to understand how to do the deal analysis, how to figure out what a good purchase price is in order to make sure that the rehabber that takes that property from you, right, that buys that property from you, is going to make enough money on the deal to make it worthwhile, right? So it's really crucial to understand that. We go through it in the online videos, but we also offer live training, and we'll take you to a project or two and really show you how to estimate those repair costs. It's one of the most important things in the business, and no matter what area of real estate you get involved in, you need to be able to have a good, solid understanding of that. And then for the folks who also choose this live aspect of the wholesaling for quick cash, we are also giving access to one of our really elite mastermind sessions that we host for our fast track partners. So you'll be able to come to one of our mastermind sessions. You'll be able to network with all of our JV partners, our alum, as well as the speakers that we bring in for that particular session. And you'll be able to get some time with Chris and I as well. The final thing that we offer with the Wholesaling for Quick Cash course, when you do that online course with the live training, is a 30-minute strategy session with myself and Chris, or Chris. So one of us will get on the phone with you or meet you in our office and talk with you for a little bit about what your goals are and help you build the right strategy to get your business off the ground. So that's what we offer with the Wholesaling for Quick Cash course when you choose the online option as well. And again, we're going to take $500 off for a limited time for anybody who's interested in purchasing that course with that live training coupled with it. And then finally, the 6-month online group coaching, like I said, it normally sells for $2,997. We're offering that out for a limited time for $2,497. And that online group coaching is going to give you the ability to attend those same live sessions that you get with the wholesaling course, but you're also going to be walked through for a full 6 months of how to run a real estate redevelopment business. We have sessions about all different kinds of topics. We talked a little bit about it already. One that I haven't mentioned yet, but I think is absolutely crucial, is we do a whole session on how to build up your buy and hold strategy. So for those folks who are interested in creating a rental portfolio, we'll teach you how to do that. We'll teach you how to analyze a rental property to know if it's a good deal or not, to figure out what price you can offer on that project or that property in order to make it a really good rental. Because as Chris and I always say, the real estate redevelopment and new construction business is awesome. We love it, and it absolutely pays our bills, and we make great money with it. But the real way to long-term wealth creation in real estate is those buy and hold opportunities, finding those deals that you can hold on to and rent out in order to get those renters to pay for your mortgage, in order to get those renters to provide cash flow to you every single month, month in and month out. So we really think that it's important that everyone consider having some investment, properties and creating a portfolio of investment properties. And we go through a whole set how to do that, how to get started, what the right formula is, how to figure out how to buy at the right price to be able to actually make money. So with that being said, I would like to maybe take a couple minutes to open it up for any questions that anybody might have. Bernadette, if you could open that chat up and see if folks have any questions. And then I will also turn it over to Bernadette to talk a little bit about how she's going to be providing these opportunities for you. And what Chris and I want to do is we want to create this kind of limited time discount for all of our different products for 7 days. So you'll have 7 days from today to be able to get in there and learn a little bit more about these, and also take that step forward to be able to purchase some of these, to be able to get that discount of a minimum $500 less than what we normally would charge for these things. And again, we're doing that because we really value our relationship with Bernadette. We love working with her. She brings a lot of value to our business, and we want to offer all the folks that are in some way have a relationship with her, we want to offer them a discount for our programs as well. So Bernadette, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. If you get any questions or if anybody's posted anything, we're happy to take those questions now, and then I'll let you go ahead and explain kind of how these guys are going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that we've talked about tonight.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about the discounts that you're offering the folks for Boston RIA. I wasn't expecting that much to be coming off. So we do have some questions. Joel Jean-Claude asks, what would be an example of a win-win proposal for an attorney?
Okay, good question, good question. So it would depend a little bit on the type of attorney that you're working with. If you're working with a real estate attorney, that may have some potential opportunity to bring you some deals because of the network that they've established. The win-win scenario there is that if they bring you some opportunities for good potential projects that you could purchase, you in turn will be able to handle or allow them to handle the closing. So you'll hire them to close, representing you on the purchase side, and then when you go to sell it after the fact, representing you as the seller of that property. So they'll make money in their closing fee as well as the fee that they get on the insurance side, the title insurance and the lender's insurance if you get it, that they make on those transactions. And building relationships with attorneys is absolutely critical to success in this business. So I gave you one example of a win-win for a real estate attorney. There's also opportunity to get out there and talk to other types of attorneys as well. Talk to bankruptcy attorneys or estate attorneys, right? So bankruptcy attorneys, estate attorneys are dealing with clients that have to divest a house in many situations, in many instances. So you're able to come on and say, you know what, we're interested in talking with these folks about buying their house. They don't have to deal with the headache of getting it listed, dealing with a lot of people coming through the house. You know, when you're dealing with estate types of situations, typically the house is outdated and the heirs to the estate, you know, the heirs to the person who has passed away, they may have a lot of connection with the house, and they don't want to have to go through the process of cleaning it all out. They don't want to have to go through the process of watching a bunch of people come in and make really low offers because it needs work and beat them up on the price because they do a home inspection and they need a new heating system and a new roof, et cetera, et cetera. So the win-win that you're bringing to that attorney is that you're able to come in and provide a win-win opportunity for their client, right? So their client is able to divest that house. What we typically say is we're an all-cash buyer. We'll purchase the property as is, so you don't need to do anything to it. In a estate sale type of situation, or oftentimes in a bankruptcy type of situation, when they need to sell the house, they don't want to have to deal with cleaning it out. So we say, just take what you want. You take the things that are important to you, and you can leave everything else behind. We'll clean it out for you. Don't worry about it. We're not going to beat you up on a home inspection. We're not even going to do a home inspection. Our offer is going to be as is. So we don't want you to do anything to the house. We'll take care of all that work. So just by the nature of that, you're creating a huge win-win for the client, and then the attorney is able to divest that house and oftentimes then help move that estate along, and in the end, obviously get paid for the work that they're doing there. So those are just a couple examples of how you could create a win-win situation with an attorney, whether they be real estate closing attorney or other types of attorneys like bankruptcy attorneys or estate attorneys. Does that make sense, Bernadette?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've said that many times to people. Oh, don't worry, you don't have to clean anything out. The next question is also from Joel Jean-Claude. He says, with a full-time job, I won't be able to respond to phone calls during normal business hours from motivated sellers. Would it be an issue if I tried to book callbacks, meetings on weeknights or Saturdays?
That's a great question. So I would say absolutely not. You have to get started some way, right? And especially if you have a full-time job, it can be difficult to kind of juggle all the balls that you need to when you're trying to get your business off the ground. But I think that what you should do, create a Google Voice number so that the calls can go to your Google Voice message, right? And on your message, you're going to say, please leave a message. I'm very interested in your property. Give me, leave your name, your phone number, and your property address, and I'll give you a call back as soon as I can. And then you go ahead and return those calls in the early evening or on the weekends. Oftentimes, people who are selling aren't able to meet during the day anyways. The real estate world, like real estate agents, buyers, sellers, a lot gets done in the evenings and on the weekends. So that's not really a problem, and definitely you don't want to let that stand in your way at all when you're trying to get your business off the ground. I'll just give you a quick example too. So folks that come on board with us, the majority, I would say about 85% of the people who come on board with our Fast Track program have full-time jobs in other industries. And part of the reason why they come on board with us is because they see the value of kind of taking that team approach so that they can learn a lot about the business and be able to manage a project, but they're not all alone, right? They have that senior project manager that's teaching them about the project, teaching them how to do things, right? And they have them to fall back on. So a lot of people initially will use that kind of, I have a full-time job, as an excuse to say, I can't get involved in this right now. But I have to tell you, Chris and I both did it initially part-time. And, you know, my job was very, very taxing. I worked a ton of hours every single day. But I got it up and running on a part-time basis. So, Joel, you can absolutely do that. Don't allow yourself to get into the mindset that it's going to be too hard, because most people do start in that part-time fashion, and you just make it work. You just figure it out.
Okay. The next question is from Tom Ford. What's the equity split on the Fast Track joint venture deals?
Okay, good question. And actually, I forgot to mention that, so I appreciate the question. So with our Fast Track JV program, we have folks come on board, and the work that they put toward the project, coupled with the senior PM that they're working with, really pays off in the end. Because once we sell that house, we provide 15% of the project's profit back to our joint venture partner. So they actually walk away with a check in hand. So we guarantee you a project. We will fund that project 100%, taking all that liability off of you. And then in the end, we're going to give you 15% of the project's profit after the fact. So you're able to make some of the investment of the program back while you're learning, while you're developing your skills.
Looks like the next question was pretty much a repeat of that question. The next question, that was from Stephen Levy. The next question is from Anthony Gomes. He said, when establishing value of the property, do you look at solid comps and appraisals, and have you found discrepancies between the two due diligence approaches?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I've been talking a little too much, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Chris, because he does a great job of explaining you know, everything kind of around analyzing the value of the property. So Chris, you want to go ahead and take that question?
Answer quickly, so, like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, if you're first starting out in the business, I would recommend you're not the person who comes up with the values. You want to get a very good agent in that area who understands the values and can hit them pretty accurately. That's exactly what we do when we're working in areas that's not in our comfort zone. Our comfort zone is southeastern Mass. If we're getting deals anywhere other than that, we're working with local agents to come up with the values. Even though we're very experienced and can also come up with comps ourselves, we don't know how different streets affect the value, how schools, you know, if you're in the school district, it affects the value, and all this different stuff. So if you're a newer investor, I would say you wouldn't want to be the person who's really nailing down the value. You want to work with a seasoned agent in that area. That's why you got to develop those relationships through networking. I mean, you can ballpark it, and you know, and our training does use a lot of different tools to ballpark it and stuff. And if you're wholesaling, it's not all that, you know, you don't really need to nail it down. You just got to kind of be close. But if you start rehabbing houses, flipping houses, until you get confident at coming up with values, and even if you are confident, like Kim and I are, we still rely on local experts to help us with values.
Awesome. The next question is from Deborah Wyrick. She said, what criteria is Brownstone looking for to accept a JV partnership with an investor?
That's a great question. So for us, we want to really ensure that the person that's coming on board through our joint venture partnership program has a good head on their shoulders, that they're willing to put some work into learning the business, and that they're an action taker. Those are really the most critical pieces of finding success. And you know, like Chris and I said, we love working with our JV partners and seeing them succeed. So we need to know that these folks aren't going to just be tire kickers, learn everything, and not take any action. We want to know that they have a level head and that they're going to be able to kind of take that action and do what we tell them. Because if they do what we tell them, everybody who does that finds deals. They find success. So those are kind of the biggest and most important aspects. We like to have a conversation one-on-one with anybody who's interested in the program, also so that they can feel comfortable with us. They get to know us a little bit. We get to know them a little bit, just so that we know that it's going to be a good working relationship amongst the group.
Awesome. And the last question we have is from Jean Claude again. In terms of auctions, when are they typically scheduled? Just trying to get an idea of how to fit in viewings during the week.
I'll take that one. Auctions are scheduled usually from like 9 a.m. to 3 to 4 p.m., during the day, all over the state of Massachusetts. I mean, we'll give you all the different avenues to track those, and we have a very good system on tracking auctions and a good track record of buying auctions and partners of ours buying auctions too. So they happen during the day. So if you do have a full-time job during the day, getting involved in auctions is going to be a little bit harder unless you can go at lunchtime or take days off here and there and stuff. And sometimes you may want to identify a specific auction you want to go to. But I know Kim mentioned it earlier, and I'll just touch on it. There's also the online auction part of things that we didn't really touch on. And we feel like there's a big space available in the online auction industry that we really have just scratched the surface. We've only purchased a handful of online auctions. But I do believe if you put time and effort into that and had a system for coming up with the values and stuff, you could do pretty well on the online auctions too.
All right. Again, the last question. Howard Harrington wants to know, for the auction, what is the usual minimum reserve amount you must have?
If we're talking about foreclosure auctions at the property, it's either $5,000 or $10,000. You need a cashier's check. If you're talking about online auctions, usually you have to put down a little bit to be able to bid, a couple thousand to be able to bid, and then if your offer gets accepted, you have to put down usually 2 or 3% of the purchase price, depending on what it is. All the terms on online auctions are posted right on the website. It's very clear. And same with foreclosure auctions. They let you know months and months in advance of what the cashier check needs to be. But I would say 75% of the time it's $5,000, 20% of the time it's $10,000, and every once in a while it's 20 or something, or 7,500, a different number.
Okay. This has really got to be the last question. Can the payments for the programs be broken up into installments?
Yeah, absolutely. So if, I'm not sure which program they're speaking of, but so just taking the 6-month online group coaching program, that one we have 6-month payment schedule if that's what you would prefer, as opposed to paying it all up front. We can also arrange something like that for the fast track or the group coaching live, but it's kind of based on, the situation of the person. So we've done it a couple times before, and we're willing to kind of talk through that. But again, it just depends, and we kind of take that as a one-off when we're dealing with fast track folks or the group coaching live group.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for jumping on this webinar and explaining everything. I really appreciate the pricing that you've put together. I'm going to be sending out a little replay since we've got 7 days for the folks. There was a few folks who registered and weren't able to attend, so I'm going to make sure that I send that out as well. For everybody that's on, you're going to be getting an email, and with the email there's going to be 3 different links. One is going to have to do with the joint venture program and the group live program. The other 2 are going to have to do with the other programs, so you can just click on the links, check them out. If you have questions, I encourage you to reach out to Kim and Chris, or reach out to me, and I'll make a connection. There will be, in one of them, there will be a place for you to leave your name and number. So thanks everybody for jumping on tonight. Kim and Chris, thank you so much for all you do. It's great to see real estate investors in this area becoming successful, a larger group of real estate investors than I was used to seeing before. So I'm excited to be sharing this with people. So thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thank you, Bernadette. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope to hear from you soon.
Have a good night.
You too.